Hello, I'm the Trek Lad, and this is my review of Star Trek The Original Series' first season episode, Miri. In this episode, the Enterprise discovers a planet that appears to be identical to Earth. The shocking similarities end pretty quickly, however, when Kirk, Spock, McCoy, and Yeoman Rand beam down to the surface to discover a decimated world that is now ruled by children. The away team encounter Miri, a young woman who reveals her world was destroyed when, in an attempt to prolong life, her people accidentally unleashed a disease that turns adults into violent monsters. Realizing they've also been infected by the deadly disease, the away team race to create a cure, but run into problems when they encounter a group of children who, hating and fearing grown-ups, become increasingly troublesome. A quick heads up that this video contains spoilers, so if you've not yet seen this classic TOS episode, this might not be the video for you. I know that might sound strange considering this episode is nearly 60 years old, but I've been told off in the past for not providing a warning, so there you go. If you're just looking for my overall thoughts, you can skip to the timestamp shown here on screen. Let's warp into this. Miri is an episode filled with amazing ideas. Duplicate Earths, bioengineered Armageddon, a society run by kids with unnaturally long lifespans, and my personal favourite, puberty being a death sentence. The problem is this episode fails to explore much of this in a way that is actually satisfying, both dramatically or intellectually. But before I go any further, this video is sponsored by the original Stormtrooper beer. Yeah, I know, wrong franchise, but come on, it's beer. Stormtrooper beer make the best beer in this or any galaxy, with a wide array of craft beers that, unlike our Imperial mate, will not fail to hit the target. Today I'm trying the Galactic Pale Ale, a nice 4.8 session beer, gold and crisp and oops, very lively. You wouldn't believe I worked in a bar once, would you? Let's give this a taste. Oh yeah, hoppy, very, very drinkable, with a flavour profile of mango, citrus, earthy pine, and blueberry. Yeah, this is good. I like this a lot. Join the Hoppy Rebellion today. Go to originalstormtrooperbeer.com right now and get 15% off your first order by using the code TREKLAD. 18 plus only, restrictions apply. Please drink responsibly. Right, on with the review. I'll try not to slur my words. For me, the biggest dropped ball is the crew's incredible discovery of a world that is an exact duplicate of Earth, and that is what it is. The episode goes to great lengths to make the connection. The same size, the exact same landmass, hundreds of light years from Earth. How is this possible? And what does this mean? Are there other Earth duplicates out there? Could this be proof that we've been created and seeded across the galaxy by some sort of godlike alien race? Could this even be the same race as the progenitors as explored by TNG and later during Discovery's 5th season? This is a massive discovery with huge implications that could change the way we view life, the universe, and everything. Frustratingly, the episode isn't interested in exploring this. The crew reacts with mild surprise, and it never comes up again. Not just in this episode, but ever in all of Trek. What the fuck? The concept of an apocalyptic world now ruled by children, like some sort of twisted sci-fi version of The Lord of the Flies, is another great idea the episode struggles to bring to screen. The idea of a society that bioengineers itself to ruin plays into a timeless fear that we continue to have to this day. It's something we've seen done well in other science fiction. One example that springs to mind is Firefly's awesome movie continuation Serenity and its revelation of the tragic origin of the Reavers. It's probably the episode's strongest element. An early scene featuring a deformed, marauding monster, soon revealed to be a pubescent young man, is quite horrifying, with makeup effects that, while obviously dated, still work quite well. It's a shame that we didn't get more of this. As the episode progresses, we spend time with a group of children led by John, played with a noticeable disinterest by Michael Pollard, who, shortly after this, would go on to win an Academy Award. We learn that these children are in fact hundreds of years old. The problem is, they don't act any differently. Now, this isn't a criticism of the child performances, as most of them weren't even actors at the time, rather just the children of the show's cast and crew. Gotta save that budget somehow, I guess. But you'd think that these unnaturally aged children would have been forced to adapt to their harsh new environment, that hundreds of years of ageless life would have come with maturity and developed intellect. We don't get any of that. These children are presented as just children, and I find it hard to believe that they could have survived as long as they have, just sitting in a room, moaning about grups, and singing nursery rhymes. It doesn't work. The most interesting of the children is obviously the episode's title character, played by the then 19-year-old Kim Darby, but even this comes with a load of stuff that's sorely disappointing. Rather than exploring this shocking world through Miri's eyes, the episode is far more interested in her developing feelings for Kirk. And the way the show does this is pretty gross, with Kirk exploiting Miri's feelings, getting her to assist the away team in a number of menial ways. On more than one occasion, the scene swells with the show's stock romantic music as Kirk talks about this blossoming woman and how all this is okay because while she looks young, she's actually old as fuck. It's crap. Let's move on. The rest of the episode oscillates between a series of dry and plodding scenes on two sets, the kids plotting on ways to be a nuisance and the away team's search for a cure for the disease. The middle portion of the episode is pretty slow and quite hard to get through, but things do pick up towards the end with scenes featuring an increasingly desperate McCoy being a highlight. DeForest Kelley is once again on fine form as Bones decides to test his hastily developed, potentially deadly antidote on himself. Obviously the Doc was never really in any danger of dying, but the episode does a good job of selling it with these tense and dramatic moments. I also liked the shot of his diseased sores disappearing. By today's standard, a very primitive dissolving effect shot, but it still works, and I imagine it would have looked pretty good during the episode's initial airing. Less convincing is the episode's climax, where Kirk faces the group of children after they sneak into the lab and steal the away team's communicators in a bit of a silly scene that made Starfleet's finest look like a bunch of idiots. Kirk is on top Kirk form here, getting into a brief scrap which means he's obviously blooded and his uniform is once again torn to shreds. Now I'm not sure shouting at a bunch of children who are hostile towards adults is the best strategy, but because the episode has to end, it works. Of course. John, Miri, and the rest of the children give up the communicators, Kirk promises to send aid to begin the rebuilding process, and the away team get the hell out of there, never to return again. I think Miri is loved more for what it could have been rather than what it actually is. It's packed with thought-provoking ideas, perhaps the best science fiction concepts of the show's entire run at this early stage. It's a shame then that the episode with all these ideas opts to be a stagey, slow-paced soap opera instead. There are some positives, of course. The episode is competently made with some good visuals and makeup effects, and after 8 episodes it's nice for the show to make use of some real sets and locations rather than all those echoey sound stages. But the big burning question, will we ever revisit the duplicate Earth? I think it's a fascinating concept that's ripe for exploration, particularly now with modern Trek's love of mysteries and potentially dark concepts. Given current Trek's love of repurposing classic stuff, there's always a possibility, but until then we'll just have to make do with this promising but ultimately unsatisfying episode. I'm giving Miri a 5 out of 10. It's closer to a 4 than a 6. But what did you think of this episode? Let me know in the comment section below, and if you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more reviews like this coming soon. Until next time, I'm the Trek Lad. Live long and prosper.